place where the magic happens. Conversations flow and the laughter snapping. Here at Netters Network, where the stories come alive. Every episode's a journey, every guest a drive. Netters Network, tune in for the show, where the headlines meet the heart, and we all get to know. From the highs to the lows, we've got it all in tow. Netters Network, where the world's on the go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Netters Network Thursday Things. My special guest tonight is all of you. Let me introduce my co-host. You know him as that guy at the end of the bar, the love of my life, Trevor Jelly. How you doing tonight, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
I am doing well, and I am sipping on a zero sugar mug root beer.
Yeah, let's see. I've got a Signature Selects, that's Jewel Food Store, seltzer water mixed berry.
There you go. There you go. And yeah, and I am pretty fired up about looking at the show up on our new TV. It is so crisp and clear.
I was getting to that. Yes. So before we get into it, let me say hello to the chat that's here so far. So first up was Big Al at 721. Have a great stream, my friends. Hope everyone is enjoying their evening. Evelyn says, sorry, I can't join you tonight, but I'll watch later. In the meantime, break a leg.
Yeah.
Thank you. And see, and this is what I was talking about, where if you can't stay for the stream, at least drop in a hello so we know you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now I know that Evelyn couldn't stay, but she's okay. Oh, I didn't mean to rhyme there. Oh, let's see. There's that last call, guys, saying hello to peeps.
Hello.
Connie Cleary is saying hello to the chat, specifically then to me and to that last call guy. We got Boomer. Hey, Boomer, how you doing? And that's it so far.
Yep.
Okay, so most of you, if not all of you, should know the saga of our TV. So we had a plasma TV that we bought roughly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, because we lived in our house about 20 years. So we bought it. It wasn't too long after we moved in here. So it might have only been 19 years. And this was a Samsung TV. The model was like DNLE. I just remember that from there so that's why I decided to name her. And she worked really well for those 20 years. And then with a little fizzle and a pop, which kind of concerned Troy because he thought the thing was blowing up, it just poof, blacked out.
I mean, it did smell like it was on fire. I mean,
so of course he comes and gets me because I'm the fixer, and whenever anything is going on, he just tells me and then expects me to do something about it. So I came down and I noticed the TV felt very hot. It never feels hot, but it was, there was heat coming off of it. So I was like, well, maybe it just overheated. Let's let it sit. Maybe it just needs to cool down and it'll be fine. Because that's happened before with other electronics that we've had where, like my laptop, it overheat because I didn't have it in a ventilated enough area. So it got overheated. It shut down. After it cooled down, it was fine. So, those of you who know electronics know that. So, when I'm looking at this going, okay, well, this appears to be dead because this was now hours later, then days later, it still wasn't turning on. So I had to buy a new TV. Our old TV was a 42-inch screen, but it had like a little case around it. I guess you call it a frame. So with that, it was 48 inches. So I was like, okay, I want to get something at least that size, or maybe a little bigger. So we decided to go with a 55-inch. It's still a Samsung, and this is an OLED. So no plasma for us anymore. OLED, apparently this is the thing now. the colors on here are so crisp. It's like real life, you know what I mean? So like the opening screen shows a picture of like trees and snow and all that. I guess that's the wallpaper. It looks like I'm just looking out a window at nature outside. It's that crisp and clear. This is incredible. I mean, the blues are really blue. The reds are really red. And this is one where, you know how sometimes on your TV, you'll see the color black, but it really looks kind of more like a dark gray. It's never a true black. This shows true black. I mean, this is so sharp. I'm in love with this TV. So the guys came in actually this morning because I made the appointment for today. And they were supposed to come around 11:30, 12 o'clock. Guy calls me at like, I don't know, it was like 10 and says, hey, you know, we're running early. Do you mind if we stop by in about 20 minutes? I'm like, yeah, sure, come on by. So they came by and they were putting up and they're like, this is so great because all we've been doing lately is installs on TV stands because a stand comes with it. So people have just been putting them up on the stand and not like mounting them to the wall or anything. So they had to take down our old TV off the wall, and then they had to figure out how to install the new one on the same mount, which actually worked out really well, and, you know, plug it in, make sure everything works. It's beautiful. And they're like, yeah, we haven't had an install like this in so long. This was so great to work on. So I guess I made their day. But yeah, it's beautiful. And then we put the old TV outside, like leaning against our garage for the second team to drop by and pick it up. Well, I've had things before where I've put things out and they kind of disappear because someone will drive by or whatever and they'll see something, go, oh, it's free. I'm taking this now. So I made a bet with Troy. I'm like, okay, what do you think is going to happen first? Someone steals the old bad TV, or the guy will come to pick it up. It turned out that the guy came to pick it up before someone could steal it, but I still thought it was a valid bet. But yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. Oh, and I want to say hello to Curtis Selby.
Welcome, welcome.
And I need to scroll down in my comments so that I can actually say hello. Curtis, hi, sweetie. There we go. Oh, and Mark Melnikoff, he snuck in there. How you doing, Mark? Kapla.
Oh, I have on top chat. That's why I'm missing people.
Yeah, I actually got that from Troy. It's like in YouTube, you can have it on top chat or live chat. I always have to switch it to live chat. Why that's not the default, I do not know. It's kind of stupid. It's like, what do you consider to be top chat, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what. Interestingly, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this, but if you ever find your system resources running low and you're dragging a bit, if you are in a chat and you don't need to pay attention to the chat, hit the X in the upper right hand corner to close the chat altogether. It actually frees up system resources.
Yeah, you're still seeing the picture.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not seeing the comments anymore.
Yep. But,
okay, let's see. Mark says, decades ago, my dad had a pawn shop in the city. He used to fill a TV box with trash and put it on the sidewalk weekly. Someone always jumped out of the car and grabbed it. Well, that's one way to get rid of your garbage.
I mean, right? You know?
Yeah, it's amazing what people will take. I mean, I've put out things by the curb for garbage. So like those big clunky old monitors, the ones that if you look at the side view, they're like 14 inches from front to back because the back end sticks out so much. I put one of those at the curb. Neighbor a couple doors down grabbed it. And I only know that they grabbed it because it ended up in the street. Like they tried to bring it back and didn't quite make it because the darn thing was really heavy. And they left it in front of our next door neighbor's place. So I know they didn't get very far with it. So it had to have been the house next door to them. They're also the ones that when we put our old janky barbecue out at the curb, and you can tell this thing was a disaster, they took that too. And I know that because come garbage day, that was out in front of their house for the garbage men to take. It's like, people will take anything.
Yep.
Although I think the funniest one we ever had is when we moved in, there was a basketball hoop just off our driveway. And well, one, we don't do sports ball. And two, it's dangerous because if we did, the ball can bounce into the very busy street because we live on a busy street. And someone get really hurt, or a car could hit it and end up crashing or something because they're trying to avoid it. So we, with a buddy, got the pole taken down, but it was an endeavor because whoever put it up, put the thing up, and then filled the metal tube with cement. So this sucker was solid. It was not going anywhere. And the cement block that was holding in place was a good 3 feet under the soil. So we had to figure out what was going on with the cement underground. And once we finally got that loose, we had to dig down so deep to get this thing out. But so there's 3 of us trying to get this thing out. And I actually think another buddy had come over. So there's 4 of us trying to get this thing out. Finally got it out. It's like, why is the thing so heavy? And that's when we discovered, when you tried to chop it up to make it smaller, that there was cement on the inside. So we managed to get it over to the curb. We figured the garbage guys can come pick it up, whatever. While we're standing out there talking and refilling the hole, a junk truck came by. The guy tried to pick it up, couldn't pick it up, dropped it from the 3 inches that he managed to lift it, said, screw it, got back in his car and drove off. We did end up managing to break it up into smaller pieces for the garbage guys. But it's like, sorry, dude. It's like, you can't take the metal on this because it's filled with cement. I mean, he could have and then somehow managed to get the cement out. But yeah, I think that one was the funniest. It's like, you can take it if you want it. I don't care. And Mark says, I love garbage picking. You'd be surprised what I find and repurpose. Sometimes, yeah, you can find some really interesting things at the curb. I've seen things at the curb and it's like chairs and things. And it's like, I can just repaint that. Because it's an ugly color right now. I can reupholster it or I can repaint it. And that would be great in, extra room or whatever. Of course, sometimes you're looking and going, yeah, I could totally repurpose that. Like repaint it, revarnish it, whatever. But where would I put it? So those are the ones that I leave behind because it's like, where am I going to put it? I don't even have room to store it in my garage and try and sell it because I just don't have the room.
I think that's where a lot of good things being thrown away really comes from, because it's like, yeah, this is good. There's nothing wrong with it, but I really don't have room for it. I don't need it. I'm just going to get rid of it.
Yeah, Mark also says our Klingon command chair was built out of an old wooden chair someone tossed. Exactly. Yeah. You take things, you repurpose them, you add on to them, and it works. You make it work. I'll see videos all the time on people who will find things at curb, furniture and all that, and they'll take it back to their house. They'll strip any paint off of it, sand it down, repaint it, or just simply varnish it so it's got like the natural wood is coming through. Put on new hardware, and then they'll turn around and flip it for $500, $600, $700, $800 or whatever. Sometimes they find actual gems because the person who was getting rid of it didn't know what it was. They just figure it was just another piece of furniture. And this one YouTuber that I it's not somebody I watch regularly, it's just I happen to catch it. And she got this piece of furniture. It was by some designer. And she's like, this is a such and such. I can't believe I found this. It had a bad paint job on it. She stripped off the paint, varnished it to show the gorgeous wood underneath, put on new hardware, and sold this thing for like $2,000. So, yeah, sometimes getting things out of the rubbish is a good thing.
Yeah. But then there's always the other side. Man, that's cool. I could definitely use that. But do I really need it? Sometimes another man's garbage is, just garbage.
Yeah. It's like even garage sales. There've been a couple on our street since we've lived here. And one of them, it was actually kind of a tragic circumstance that came that made it happen. the only crime we've ever had in our neighborhood since we moved in. So we've lived here, it'll be 20 years, end of August, beginning of September. And the guy 2 doors down from us, an older gentleman, he was on oxygen. He had 2 sons. One was a good son, had a great job, took care of dad, all this, made sure he got his groceries, all that. The other son was a druggie. Druggie son decided to come visit dad. Now, this was a winter day, and I remember this because I kind of saw some of it. He came to visit dad, wanted some money from him. I guess dad probably refused to give him any because he was a pensioner, didn't have a lot of money. And his druggie son stabbed him to death and then tried to set the house on fire to cover it up. The only reason why I knew something about it, 2 reasons. Well, one, the cops came by our house to find out if we heard anything, because apparently the guy's smoke alarm went off and it was supposedly kind of loud. In our family room, which is down the lower level, which I know, Mark, you've been down here, you can't hear any street noise or anything. You can't hear anything upstairs, outside at all. I mean, if it rains really bad, we might hear the rain hit the windows, but that's about it. It's a cave. And, the cop was asking if we heard anything. I said, no. I said, but something I thought that was a little unusual is that there was a black SUV type car parked at the very end of the driveway as if it was going to exit out. And I thought that was really strange because no one ever parks in their driveway there. They always, especially for this house, the driveway went really far back because the garage was further in the yard. It wasn't like ours where it's attached to our house. This one was further back. And our next door neighbor is the same way. Their garage is set further back, not attached to the house. And I said, so I thought it was weird that the SUV was right there at the end of the driveway instead of pulled up towards the garage. And I only knew this because it was a very snowy, wintry day, and we had about 3 feet of snow on the ground. And I was out there shoveling, so I happened to notice it and just thought it was kind of weird. And so I had mentioned this, and then the cop was like, oh, okay, we didn't know the detail. Thanks for letting us know, So then this estate sale happened. We walk over just to see what they had. And I end up talking to the good son who told me the rest of the story. And that's when he told me that he goes, yeah, my brother basically killed our dad for $50 in his wallet to get drugs. And he goes, and the cops came to my house first because I guess somehow they had gotten some information on, like his name, his address, and thought he had killed his father. And he goes, wait, what happened to my father? Let me give you my brother's name and address. And basically ratted out his brother so they could arrest him. Then they found his brother high as a kite. I think they found like accelerant on his clothing and all that. And he actually told me this whole story because when I found out he was the son, I went to offer condolences because it was on the news that he had been killed, or the dad had been killed. So I went to offer condolences, and that's when he told me the entire story. But while we were there, we bought some bar chairs. There were 4 bar chairs, the kinds that it's not just the stool; it's actually got like the back to it. And we got one item for free because no one knew what it was. The event coordinators didn't know what it was. The son didn't know what it was. It was a very long, metal, slightly curved object with a ring at the top. And they're like, and Troy was excited. And he goes, oh, cool. And it was like, I think the price tag was like 25 cents or something, or 50 cents. It might have even been $1. It was something really cheap. And they came up, they're like, wait, you know what this is? We had no idea. He goes, yeah, it's a shoehorn.
Yeah.
One of those long shoehorns so that, you can get your shoes on without having to like really bend over.
It's more for boots, but when I'm just feeling lazy and don't want to bend over, I use it for shoes.
Well, yeah, plus he's tall, so it helps so he's not hurting his back bending over to get his shoes on. I've never used the thing. But we've had, I think, two since that one, and there's another one I got that was metal with a red hand, or like a red rubber handle, and it was like, yeah, we uses them to put his shoes on because that's what they're for. But they had no idea what it was, and they're like, since you can identify it, it's yours. You don't have to pay for it. So it was our gift with purchase, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we also bought our snow blower from there too, in one of those big heavy metal things that I don't even think they make them like that anymore. It was like $60.
Oh yeah, I mean this thing just
It's a
where
beast.
it just shoots it out the top. It's incredible.
Yeah, because like we tried looking at snow blowers at one point before we bought this one, and I noticed that all the blades were kind of like a hard plastic instead of metal, which could break kind of easy, and they weren't very powerful. And it's like, and I checked, like different stores. We went to like Home Depot and stuff like that because we figured they're going to have this stuff. Yeah, they're all just heavy duty plastic blades. It's like, this is crap.
Yeah.
When we bought this one, like I said, it was $60 for this beast of a machine. It was only well, one, it was discounted because they wanted to get rid of it, and two, the pull cord didn't work. So basically, you had to plug it in with like
Yeah, you had to use the electric start.
Yeah, what do you call that long cord thing?
Extension cord.
Extension cord. I couldn't think of the word.
Wow. You were halfway there. You had the cord part.
Yes, I just couldn't think of the rest of it. So you had to plug it into extension cord, start it the way you would normally start it,
Yeah.
put it on the bunny rabbit and then on the turtle or
Right,
whatever it was.
exactly.
And then once it got started, you could unplug it and use it. But
Right.
if it stopped for any reason or you turned it off, you had to do the same thing again to get it to start. So that's the only thing that's wrong with it. I figure I got a beast of a machine for $60,
Yeah.
and I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could have someone come over and fix the starter on it, and then it'd be as good as new.
True. But then we also realize the thing is such a beast, and we have such a small front yard, and yes, we do have a 2-car garage, but even even to haul that thing out just to do the driveway seemed a bit excessive.
Well, it worked really well when we had that heavy wet snow.
True.
Oh, I hate heavy wet snow.
Nate says snow blowers and weed whackers and hedge clippers. Now these days are all cheap plastic, so you have to buy a replacement. And I'm telling you, a lot of people use those weed whackers with the strings that spin around to
and those
edge.
break so easy, the strings do.
Well, and they're kind of supposed to, but it's such a waste. If I'm going to edge, I'm going to use the ones that like
the metal ones.
Cut a 1/4 inch, divot, along the sidewalk. You can never get it as crisp as when you do that. I love that look.
Yeah, it's we've actually got a metal one in our shed right now. Since we have lawn guys right now because we're too lazy to do our own lawn, our mower, our snow blower, and our weed whacker and all that are sitting in the shed. I'm thinking of just putting them up for sale up on like Nextdoor or something because we don't use them. And Nate, I want to thank you so much for the $2 super chat. It says bonjour, Netters, Troy, and chat.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm so excited talking that I'm not paying attention to the chat. Oh, yeah, Geek Flag. What a shitty way to find out your father's dead.
Right.
Exactly. It's like, really? Like, what happened to my father now? Yeah, that's really crappy. I just want to say hello, JPRPH1. How you doing, sweetie?
And I wanted to ask, I saw Mark talking about
Mark says it's a bunker. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I responded to that. Mark, are you at the dilithium mines, or have you returned?
Let's see. Let me make sure I'm not missing any more of the chat. I keep switching back and forth between StreamYard and YouTube, so
Yeah.
just to make sure I'm not missing any chats. And you know, Troy, if you see anything, you can bring it up yourself. You have that.
Yeah,
those
that's
permissions.
true. That is true.
Mark says he's at his home base.
There you go. Good, good.
Yeah, so it's like we are totally in love with our new TV. It's been an interesting week. Let's see. Tuesday we went to go get our taxes done. No, I'm sorry, Monday. Monday we went to go get our taxes done. We got slightly more back than we did last year. Basically, it was enough to cover the TV. Yeah, it's a beautiful TV, but it was pricey. But we decided if we were going to spend the money, we wanted to get good quality and everything. We didn't want to get a cheap TV that was going to break in a year or two. We want something that was going to last. So I'm really hoping that this lasts 20 years,
yeah,
like our other one did.
I know.
Because Troy had looked up the life cycle of a plasma TV, which is what we had.
Yeah.
And it was something like, what was it, like 6 to 10 years or something?
Something like that, yeah.
And our beast was 20 years old. And for all of you who offered condolences on X, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was telling the story of it on over in the MeWe group for last call, and somebody because I don't remember what it was I said, but your TV stopped working. I said it friggin' blew up. He's like, seriously? And I'm like, well, yeah, kinda. It went sizzle pop, and then it started smoking. So yeah, it basically blew up.
Where's your sergeant? Blowing up, sir.
Blowing up, sir.
Yeah, that is not the movie we're showing tomorrow. I'm sorry, Saturday. We will be showing Flight of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the bad movies we got from Evelyn. But Troy had to kind of preview it to get it ready for Saturday. He said it doesn't look like a bad movie.
Yeah,
so.
It doesn't look that bad. It looks like it might be kind of promising. I'm not, I'm not saying it's going to be the best film, but as horror films go, I think it should be fine. I don't think it's going to. Let's put it this way: I don't expect it to be Ouija shark bad. I'm actually seeing some faces in there that I recognize. So I'm like, yeah, this doesn't look so bad. And like the first opening scenes or whatever, I'm like, it didn't even seem all that low a budget, at least not a lower budget than your average horror film. So I'm like, yeah looks pretty good.
And deleted scenes has popped in to say, like, share, subscribe, become a member.
But that is part of the reason I love the rewatches we do, because it gives us an opportunity to watch these movies that we've had for a while and haven't had a chance to watch. And look, I was talking with Boomer on one of the streams about the Living Dead. Didn't we do like a whole episode specifically talking about the various paths of the Living Dead? But when I saw this movie, Flight of the Living Dead, I knew it wasn't literally, in the canon of Night of the Living Dead. But I was like,
I just thought of something with this movie.
What?
I already know the ending, even though I've never seen it.
What do you think the ending is?
How can a zombie fly an airplane?
I don't know, but I was reading a bit of trivia on it, and apparently the original script called for the film to open with a plane crash.
Oh.
So I was like, well, that seems ambitious. And then, like I said, as I was getting the movie ready, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this isn't like super, super low budget. They totally could have, done that. I'm guessing the story went a different way. We'll find out on Friday or on Saturday. Kind of looking forward to it now.
Let's see. So Monday we got our taxes done. Today we got the TV installed. I took off both days.
Yeah.
What was kind of funny is I took off Monday, my supervisor took off Tuesday, so I didn't see her again. I won't see her again until tomorrow. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't even know what day this is. I didn't see her again until Wednesday. And it was just kind of like, okay, we'll see you in a couple days. Because usually we touch base every day. Well, that's one of us is off. So it's like, since I was off one day, she was off the next, we went 2 days without touching base.
Yeah.
And her, I don't mind touching base with. My other manager, because I got moved under a different department, and my other manager, I adored her when I didn't have to do one-on-ones with her. Once I had to start doing one-on-ones with her, it's just like, I don't want to talk to you. Because she's a very sweet lady and all this, but it's like, I would make just some like offhanded comment like, I've got a lot of jury tickets to take care of. And she would just jump on that and like a dog with a bone and start asking me more about this and wanting to go more in depth and what kind of jurors are they? And it's like, I'm just letting you know, I've got, 10 jurors to take care of. Like, that's, you don't need to know anything else. Because with everyone else, it's like, yeah, I'm working on juror tickets. I got some Salesforce cases. I'm been working on CP credits. The company I work for does IT certifications. So once they take classes, they can get the CP credits towards, or because of the class. And some of them, their company requires that they get a certain amount of CP credits throughout the year. So they want to make sure they get those. And so I take care of all that stuff. And it's like, and usually I just kind of leave it like that. And they're like, okay, just so I know how busy you are today, da-da-da. She wanted such in-depth stuff. It's like, oh, please. So then they decided that they were going to shift people. And they shifted 3 of us that were under her to the sales team. So even though we're not doing sales, I've always assisted sales since I started with doing those codes that you could put into your cart to get a discount or get something for free? I create those for our products. And so they figured, okay, what I'm doing is more sales related than just general populace. And so they put me under sales. Plus what we're doing with like some of our other classes and things fell under 2 other of my coworkers, so they got switched under there too, which meant that there was one person still under my boss because the group kept getting diminished, and then he ended up being switched back under accounting where he had started off several years ago. So there's no one under her right now. We're really hoping that this wasn't a redundancy thing because she was a wonderful manager. She was super sharp and everything. It's like, what plans do they have for her? Because it would be a waste for them to get rid of her. But she doesn't have a team anymore, unless they're giving her a new one. So I'm just really, like I said, I'm hoping that they give her some projects to do that really utilize her talents, because, like I said, she's really sharp. But it's like, now that I moved under this other sales team, one of my coworkers used to be my supervisor some time ago. So she's now my supervisor again, and I report to her again. And then our boss is the head of sales, which is totally fine. I love this guy. I adore him. And so I still have the same conversation with her. Yeah, I'm working on jurors, I'm working on CPs, I'm working on Salesforce cases, whatever. And she knows what that entails. So she doesn't ask me a gazillion questions. If there's something going on with one of them, I will elaborate. Like, yeah, I got this juror ticket for a whole bunch of codes for so-and-so. And I let her know, it's like, these are individual codes. This is going to take me a couple hours to complete. Because when I create these codes, I'm just going to give you a little background on my job. When I create these codes, I have, I actually have a formula that I can use. So it's like we take the department name. So usually I'm doing these for academic development. So ACDEV. So that's the first part. That's the prefix. And then I'll usually take the juror ticket number or the course name and put that at the end for the suffix. And then a formula I have fills in the middle piece with the gibberish bits, different random letters and numbers, depending on how many they want. So like I did one on Wednesday, 300 codes. So creating the codes, no big deal. I basically just drag my my formula down to 300 spots, and I got my 300 codes. I have to then copy those, put them on another spreadsheet to upload in Salesforce. Again, takes 2 seconds, no big deal. Then I have to put them on a price roll so that those codes actually apply to certain product or products. So if, usually it's like the individual codes are for one product. If we have a group code, it's one code that could be used for many products. So you can have 4, 5, 10 products on one code, whatever. The individual ones, it's usually one product per code, and it's one individual that can use these codes. To put those onto a price roll, you have to do them manually, one by one. That's where all the time-consuming garbage comes in. So it took me to put in those 300 codes onto the price roll, I want to say about an hour, because I'm basically copying and pasting each of the codes over into the price roll. And I'm usually pretty fast. But yeah, it's like 300 to 500 codes. And I think, well, no, 500 isn't the most I've ever had. The most I've ever had was like 3,000. And then I had somebody help me. But even when I'm doing like 500 codes, it takes me about an hour, hour and a half. So that's time consuming. So I'll let her know some stuff like that, so she knows I am not going to be available for this amount of time. So yeah. And I like, Nate goes, so he's bored or he's tired. Yeah, my job is kind of boring. But thank you for the $2 super chat to tell me you're bored. Let's see.
And did you notice he asked how long you've been with the company?
I've been with our company now 4 years. Troy and I used to work together at the same company before the pandemic. And right at the beginning of the pandemic, we both lost our jobs within 5 minutes of each other. Troy got a new job November of 2020. I got my new job March of 2021. So I've been there 4 years. I love the company. I love what I do. Yeah, so that's a good bonus right there, is that I actually enjoy what I do. I like my coworkers. I don't really think there's anyone I have a problem with, except for one sales guy who's totally stupid. You can tell him the sky is blue, and he'll go, I don't get it. So you try to reword it. The sky is the color blue. It is, if you had something cold is usually associated with blue. That's what color the sky is. I don't get it. You can explain this to him 5 ways to Sunday, and he won't get it. He's that stupid. We also do standard operating procedures, different processes that we write out. I once told my manager, the one who's not my manager anymore, that he just couldn't get a simple process down. She goes, oh, well, then you should write at the beginning of the process doc a little bit more information so that he understands it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. He's the only one who doesn't understand this. I'm not doing that.
And thank you, Boomer, for confirming. Yeah, we did the top 10 zombie movies, right? Right.
You did top 10 zombies? When was that? I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh, and Nate says, I'm just messing with you. No, I know I have a boring job. At least to most people it would be a boring job. To me, I don't mind it. It's something I enjoy. And then Mark says, destruct sequence 1, 2, 3. My mother used to Nate says, I can't talk. Nate says, my mother used to say about people like him, that boy is stuck on stupid. Yeah, he is. He might be a brilliant salesperson. I have no idea. But the simplest things this boy does not understand. We had an incident with him where he asked, I should say, for a code to be extended. Usually it's not a problem. But in this case, it wasn't the code he needed extended. It was the fact that the user used the code for an exam and didn't take the exam and wanted the exam time extended so he could still take the exam. I can't do that. He has to go through another department to get that taken care of. And it's like, we have told him this over and over and over. It's like, we can extend codes that have not been used. We cannot extend exams. That's not my department. Don't know how to do that. Well, actually, I do know how to do that, but I'm not telling him that. And I only know that because I was the backup for the guy who does know how to do that. He was my backup, he was my backup. I was his backup. Well, it's like, yeah, this guy is dumber than a stump. The stupid, it burns.
Yeah, exactly right.
Stupid is what stupid does. Hello, Samuel Proctor.
Welcome,
and if there's anybody I missed saying hello to, please let me know.
Yeah, let us know you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, so I get to go back to work tomorrow, and I get to take care of, well, when I left yesterday, I had 16 statements of work that I needed to create, which in itself doesn't take a long time to do. It's getting the information from the JIRA tickets and then creating the title for it. So I've got all the information in there. That takes the longest. And it's like, well, once I have the title for those, I could just go in and zip, 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 and I've got them done. But I figure it's going to probably take me, and if he's added more, it's going to take me longer. But I figure the first 3 hours of my morning are going to be just creating titles for these things.
And tomorrow I get to talk a little bit more about Doctor Who. I saw you guys already starting to chat with Boomer about tomorrow night and who your favorite companions are. It's going to be good. I really appreciate that. It's a lot of fun.
And Mark says, spend a day with me at the lithium mines. I'll show you, stupid. Oh, wait, you've seen it.
Yeah,
yes, Troy and I have both worked retail before.
True.
I cannot believe the stupidity of some people. It's like, yeah, I don't even want to go there. It's like, do not bring things back to my store that you did not buy there and expect a refund.
Yeah.
But you sell coats and this other place sells coats, so you should just give you the refund. No, you need to go to that store and get a refund from them. We don't have your money, they do.
Yeah.
Or buying something and they don't know how it works and then trying to tell us it's broken. And then we show them exactly how it works. And I'm like, well, it didn't do that for me.
Were you plug it in?
This? Yeah, did you plug it in? Or did you turn it on? Or, did you put this attachment on that you're supposed to?
Now, I will admit, I've, gone and gotten things and plugged them in. I just did this with the new monitor that we got for the computer I show the films on. I'm like, okay, it's plugged in. Everything's, how do I turn it on? There's got to be an on switch here somewhere.
Yeah, they're at the bottom now instead of in the front.
Yeah.
And this comment's for you, sweetie.
Which one?
It's on the screen.
Do you need me to do another forward for tomorrow night's show? Hey, if you want to, yeah, that'd be fine. I'd be happy to use it up the way I did last time. That was actually kind of fun. Yeah.
And hello, Outlaw Bill. And I'm just dropping my hi, sweetie, in the chat. And Boomer says, do you believe in Bigfoot? Big Al does. Yeah, Big Al likes all, what do you call those things?
Cryptids.
I
mean, look, I'm at the point where I'm totally to believing in it, but for crying out loud, we kind of be nice to get some actual, proof of existence, right? I mean,
yeah, here's the weird thing. I'm not sure I actually believe in Bigfoot because there's been so many debunked things of, oh, this must be Bigfoot. And then you find out it was just some guy in a costume or something. I believe in spirits. I've seen them in my house. So you would think that somebody who believes in spirits and has actually seen them would believe in things like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and all that stuff. But those ones have been debunked so much, whereas I have actually seen the spirits in my house and know they're real. I have felt them. I've heard them. And it's, or they'll do like a scent. Like when my mom passed, every once in a while I would catch the scent of Chanel No. 5, which was her cologne, which she had not worn in many, many years. And she certainly never wore it in my house because she had never actually been to my house. She had lived in California that whole time. But I smelled that. I'm like, my mom's visiting. My mom's here somewhere. There's one other spirit that I will smell flowers. Different flowers. I'll smell lilacs. I'll smell roses. And it's like, okay, so this other spirit is visiting. There's one spirit that several times I'll just be sitting working on my computer and I can feel her touching my hair. And it's like, and it's not like, a spider laying on my head, and you just feel this kind of like soft thing. Actually, like running her fingers through my hair as if like Troy had taken his fingers and just ran it through my hair, like just to touch my hair, something like that. So I know that the spirits are here, but there's no real proof for Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster or any of those. They're legends. I appreciate the legends.
The thing I was going to say about it was it is one of the most plausible cryptids, but just plausibility isn't enough. You kind of do need the proof, right? Because what's one of the things I always say, why does North America not have any indigenous great apes? Where whereas just about every other continent does. Is it possible that we have a great ape living in, and I don't think people really realize that when you start looking at Canada overall, there are territories there that are just forest, that don't really have settlements there. And some areas where it gets really, really cold that people just don't live. So there are some really remote areas. But at the same time, we also have the technology now to, kind of do a thorough search. And we haven't found any tangible proof, right? What do they say? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. So it's kind of time to, somebody's got to come up with some proof.
I am totally open to believing in different things. And of course, there are things I haven't seen. Like, I believe there are fairies in our garden. I haven't seen them. But I think certain things that happen, things that disappear or get moved or whatever, I think those are the fairies, sometimes being a little mischievous. But if I ask for it back, it'll suddenly reappear. So,
another one that I'm really open to, the so-called, lost civilizations, right? The idea that there were advanced civilizations, and I don't mean advanced like computers and, spaceships and stuff like that. I mean advanced like, the way we picture ancient Egypt, right? Existing thousands of years before that, before recorded history, so to speak. The reality is that time has a tendency to wipe away, all different kinds of evidence. So it's great to speculate that it's entirely possible that advanced civilizations could have existed, may have encountered, the civilizations we know of, and impacted them and so forth. The problem is you need the evidence. right now everybody's talking about, columns underneath the pyramids and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm open to that. Let's take a look at it. And then they show their evidence, and it's just these splotches of electronic, colorings, from a sonar scan or something like that. And I'm like, dude, that could be anything.
Yeah.
How are you guys coming up with all these crazy theories? Let's deal with reality first.
Mark says that Julie and I occasionally smell our mom's perfume in her old room.
Yeah, I know
And
that goes.
Nate says, Boomer, I believe my family was stalked by Bigfoot where we lived in the first house. We lived in Brandywine, Maryland.
See, I would be less fearful of Bigfoot than being stalked by a regular person. Yeah, it does sound creepy.
Nate says, I hope I never see a fairy. They're vicious.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that fairies operate on a very, well, at least the mythology behind them, they operate on a very different set of understanding than we do. Their morality and good and evil doesn't quite jive with ours.
Well, if you are nice to them, they will be nice to you.
Yeah, but what they consider nice may not always, jive with what we would think constitutes nice.
Well, I have a fairy garden in our backyard. It's up against the house and next to a lilac bush, so it's out of the way and can't actually get hit by the lawnmower or anything. And every morning I stop by, I say good morning, I make sure that if there's any leaves or anything in there, I remove those. I, say good morning to them, tell them to have a beautiful day, and tell them I appreciate them. I was told by someone that you never say thank you to a fairy because apparently thank you is offensive.
That's what I'm talking about. It's stuff like that. They have very
I just say, I appreciate you. And then I go about my day. But, I've never had any issues with them. So,
yep.
It depends on how you treat different entities. There was one point in time where I just felt that there was something in the house that shouldn't be here. And I started watching some YouTube videos on bad energy. And the advice was to sage the house. So I went through the entire house, opened up a bunch of windows and all that, because they said open the windows so the bad spirits, whoever can leave. And it told me to repeat something like that. I kind of like a chant. I could either use something like what they were saying, or I could use my own words, basically telling them to leave. So I went through the entire house, and what they tell you to do is go through the house from one end to the other, and then when you're coming back, close the windows in that order, like coming back. So if you open, your living room window last, it's the first one that you close, and you go back through the house the same direction that you saged in to cleanse the bad spirits out.
So Mark, here's my thought. If you look at folklore, I think you will find some really interesting similarities between angels and demons, fairies, and aliens. And it makes me wonder if when people are talking about these things, if they're not talking about the same kind of entities. There's even people that are talking about aliens not literally being creatures from other planets, but maybe they are literally humans from the future.
And it could very well be that if you're having a bad experience, it may not be a fairy, it could be an imp. Because, imps are impish. Exactly. And they play jokes and things like that. So,
but and the conversation's still going for Doctor Who, so I think that tells me that you guys are really looking forward to tomorrow night, as am I. Tomorrow night, 9:00 on my channel and Boomer's channel, and right here on Netter's channel, Last Call, where we will be talking about the I almost called it the Five-ish Doctors because of the little parody video that these three doctors did, but and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit. But Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy, and yes, we will be talking about their lovely companions as well. Everyone's got some memories there, so definitely looking forward to that. We had problems with Julie's dad. Every time I got rid of something the next day at the home, he would ask about the exact item. We had a ceremony to break the connection. Wow, exactly.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you have to do something like sage your home. And I know a lot of people don't believe in that. They're like, oh, that old mystical jazz. But it works.
I'll tell you something. I don't talk about it too much because this isn't the field that I went into, but I majored in psychology at university, and they talk about the placebo effect. And when you start digging into the actual science behind the placebo effect, you realize how effective it is. I mean, it so much so that it has to be used as part of your control when you do an experiment. To, if you're testing a drug, you got to test it against a placebo, because sometimes just believing that something is going to help you actually does help you. It's that whole mind over matter thing.
But like I'm watching Eureka again. I think I'm in season 2. One of the things that they did is one of the main characters, her son is autistic and has a hard time really communicating. He's very withdrawn and all that. And the mother found out that the ex-husband had put their son in a trial, and she's like, how could you put him in this, that drug is dangerous. She goes, he never got the drug.
Yeah.
But he was in the trials. Yeah, but he never got the drug. He got the placebo.
Right.
But he's different. Now, he's different because you're different.
Yeah. Because
you are acting differently around him. He is coming more out of a shell and everything because you're acting different.
People don't realize how mind over matter really works, how attitudes can really change real circumstances. It's absolutely true. But that kind of blew me away. I mean, even cases of people believing that they have some sort of a problem and suddenly having physical manifestations like welts on their bodies. Even, here's something interesting. So the assumption is, okay, if I'm having a positive impact because I'm taking a placebo, I'll stop having that impact if I find out that it's a placebo. That's not true. Even people who know they're receiving a placebo will have a positive effect. They talk about going in to see the doctor. Sometimes people feel better just from, him checking your ears, checking your nose, telling you to stay hydrated. Yeah, you know what? I feel a lot better. It's because you believe you've done all the things you need to do. I told this before, but the day her dad died, right before the phone rang to inform us, I heard his voice loud and clear. It's
yours now. Take care of it. From me in the house, right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's right. So yeah, there are more things on heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. There's no doubt. So yeah, tomorrow night, Friday, last call. Saturday, Flight of the Living Dead. I think I'm actually optimistic. I think it's going to be a better film than we've given it credit for. Since we've seen it not at all, we got nothing to judge it on. But the few minutes of the movie that I saw looked way better than the cover of the DVD would imply it had any reason to be. So could be very interesting. So that's tomorrow night on Netter's channel. And let's not forget, right after this, over on Deleted Scenes, I'll bring up I'll get it for you. I'll drop it in the private chat. we will be heading over to Deleted Scenes channel because he's got so much going on. We can't keep track of it. So he needs to let us know.
Absolutely.
Netter, as soon as I get her the link, Netter will have you auto dramatically beamed over there so that you will.
Yeah, because when I go to redirect, it's only showing me things for my channel.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'll get you the
And if you want a sneak preview of the movies that I have upcoming, I have dropped, or I created all the streams for all the rest of the Fs. So there's like, I don't know, 6 of them, I think. So Fly Living Dead, and then all the ones that come after that. So you can see what's upcoming. So if it's like, oh, I really like that movie. Like there's one that's coming out, Frequency. When I was first looking, I'm like, what's this one? Until I started getting the synopsis to set up the stream. I'm like, oh, this is such a good movie. Yeah,
okay.
I really like that one.
I just dropped it in the private chat for you. So yeah, as soon as the stream ends, you'll be auto dramatically pimentoed over there to to Deleted Scenes, so he can tell you what he's got coming up this weekend. But yeah, Saturday. Yeah, I was just starting to look at the notes for Geeky Geezers. We got William Shatner being based on X, and looks like some Mission Impossible news. Definitely going to be talking a little bit more about Nintendo. Some very interesting news. I've got some things to say about. Looks like China's not too fired up about Hollywood. That's funny. That makes 2 of us. Yeah.
And Samuel Proctor says, there have been times where I'm hiking in the mountains and had an eerie experience like I was being watched. That could very well have been animals. Because if there's wild animals around, they will watch you. And you will get that feeling like you're being watched because it's like, are you edible? Yeah, it might be dinner.
And finally, we'll have an update on the Gina Carano case as well. So that's Sunday.
Good.
That's Sunday on Geeky Geezers. That's me, Netter, and Boomer. 8 Central, 9 Eastern. The man never sleeps. Yeah. Kind of true.
Yeah, we're always joking about that.
Did you know that Malcolm McDowell was getting death threats because his character killed Captain Kirk?
Oh,
that's just crazy. That is crazy.
And Samuel Proctor says, finally, it's about time we heard something about Carano.
Yeah. And what do they say? The wheels of justice move slowly, but they grind finally, or whatever it is. But that's part of the problem. These cases do take a long time. We want them to get done now, and that's not how it works. But
court cases tend to drag out because, and part of it is because the courts are so busy, they have to set them several months, sometimes years in the future because they're just so backed up.
But you will be encouraged in this case to find out that Disney is trying to delay, and the court's not having it, so it won't be as slow as we had anticipated. So, no, see, Nate, a lot of people keep saying that. You have to keep you've got to remember that Disney doesn't necessarily have a choice in the matter. They can try to settle, but Gina has to accept. And every indication has been that Gina's team has no intention of accepting a settlement. Yeah, I'm sure they've already offered a settlement. And she's not taking it because this isn't about the money. This is about the principle, which is, I think, why so many people are supporting her as much as it is. But you know what? Tune in on Sunday. We'll get way farther into it. From what I've heard, this case has been dragged longer than usual by Disney withholding evidence. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about on Sunday. Speaking of Kirk, did you hear they are, Paramount are
I'm
muting the opening of the TOS line where no man has gone before. We're going to be talking about that too on Sunday. Yes.
And hi, Tim.
Not to mention, there's now a government investigation into Disney. Yeah, Disney is not having a good year, let me tell you.
Well, there's all the fraud with the place that they own that they were supposed to be building properties and stuff on. They never did that, and they're just getting all these tax breaks that they weren't supposed to be getting because they didn't do what they were supposed to be doing.
Here's the problem with that, Nate. Part of what she asked for was to be reinstated as Cara Dune, which means, and she has specifically mentioned being inserted into this upcoming movie, which they are trying to get started sooner than later, and it's entirely possible that an injunction is going to be put against them that prevents them from starting to roll film on The Mandalorian, which, just that alone, no matter how the case goes, any delays means a loss of revenue. Without getting too Valiant Renegade on you guys, you have to understand that these studios don't have the funds like Scrooge McDuck in a vault where they just pull out cash and pay for things. It's all done on credit. So they go and they take out loans. They say, I need, $130 million to make this movie. And they get a loan. Well, the interest on that loan starts accruing immediately. They can't start paying it until the movie releases. So all that time, technically, they're losing money. And the longer a movie gets put out, the more money it's going to cost, which means less profit, if any profit at all. We talked about this a lot during the pandemic when we pointed out that so many films were being held because they couldn't put them out in theaters. No one would go see them. And they were losing money. So when they started taking all those movies they had filmed and throwing them onto their streaming services, they were literally taking a loss. They were just saying, cut our losses. Maybe we can get people to start, buying into our streaming model. But, those days are over with now. They need to make money on these movies. And every delay, every reshoot, everything. Can you imagine this? Think about this. They start filming The Mandalorian. They get it almost all the way done. And then the court case comes through and they say, yeah, you got to put her back in the movie. Then they got to go back and do reshoots, possibly major reshoots, to add a whole character into it. That's basically filming a whole other movie. That would guarantee The Mandalorian would lose money just like every other Disney Star Wars film. And yes, every Disney Star Wars film has lost money. The only one that we can prove by their own numbers is Solo: A Star Wars Story. But when you make assumptions about how much they actually spent beyond their budgets, they've lost money on every single Star Wars movie they've done. And yes, I'm including Rogue One in that as well. Stay tuned for Retro Blasting's very, very deep dive into the very, very troubled behind the scenes of Rogue One. I'm really looking forward to it. So that is the weekend review, or at least the weekend in review.
Well, can you give us a hint on what Monday's members only movie might be?
No. Because I don't know what it is yet. I do have a poll up for my members that have been voting, and what I'll do, as soon as this stream ends, I'll go over there and turn it into a vote, because everybody, I have a lot of people that made suggestions, but they're just one suggestion, each person. It's like, okay, we need to put these to a vote. So I'll get them up there, and we'll see what we're watching on Monday.
Okay, well, that sounds pretty cool.
That Rogue One video will make a fine addition to my Rise and Fall of Star Wars playlist collection. There you go, Samuel Proctor. And it's going to be a big one, too. It's going to be Maybe not as it's maybe not a 4-hour thing like with the Indiana Jones deep dive, but it's gonna be intense. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's, like I said, the weekend review, and he doesn't have the Monday night movie yet. But if you are a member of Last Call, make sure you go over to his channel and you put a vote in. Otherwise, I'll make the decision. You might not like what I pick. And I'm not even a member.
Smarty.
I am a partner, but I'm not a member.
You got the forward. You got the forward set.
I got the forward set.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay. Want to make sure I didn't miss any final chat thingies. Okay, I think we're caught up on all those. You guys are so amazing in AWESMOE. We appreciate you so very much. I'm always saying that we can talk amongst ourselves, and that's fine. But it is really so much more fun when you guys are here. You're joining us in the chat. You're dropping the comments and questions and trivia, or the goofiness, whatever it is. And it doesn't feel like we are separate by miles. It doesn't feel like we're online chatting. It feels like we're in our family room, which I just cleaned up, by the way. So it's, nice and pretty. You can see a whole bunch of people. And we're passing the popcorn. We're having a great time just having a discussion about anything, everything, whatever. You guys could be anywhere, and you're here. That's so encouraging. I love seeing you guys in each of our streams. I love just interacting with all you guys. And as I mentioned before, if I don't see you here, I miss you. So like Evelyn did, she said she couldn't stay for the stream, but she popped in and she said hi. And hello, Darth Plato. We're just rolling up.
Wrapping up.
Finishing up.
But if you stay right here, we're going to shoot you over to
Yes.
deleted scenes for coming attractions.
Exactly. But you guys are just so encouraging in all the different things that you do. And I want to thank Nate again for the super chats. You are the sponsor of tonight's stream. And those little things like that, they really do help. All the funds that we get from you, super chats, super stickers, memberships, all that money goes back into our channels to improve them, to make them better. So anything that we can do to make them better for you, we want to do that. But of course, that takes money. So if you're not a member yet, would you consider it? The lowest tier for me is $2.99. I think that's the lowest I was able to go. So it's less than the price of a cup of coffee, and you get membership for the entire month. I am going to be setting up another member stream. I just got to figure out which Thursday I'm going to do that on, because I'm doing that before Thursday things. I just have to figure out which Thursday it's going to be. But yeah, it's going to be another members chat where you guys can actually come on, like me and Troy are right now, so you actually can be live and in person. And we talk instead of chat. And JPRPH1 has been a member for 5 months, saying woohoo! Awesome. Thank you for being a member for so long. So yeah, I'm going to be setting that up soon. But until then, stay right here. You will be... I'm going to be using Troy's word now because that's the only words in my head. It's auto-dramatically directed to deleted scenes stream if you stay right here.
Yep.
But until that time, and I got to get over to the right spot. Oh, wait, I just saw a comment pop up. And Geek Flag has also been a member for 5 months. Woohoo!
Great. You guys are wonderful.
You guys are so AWESMOE. Where do I want to be? I want to be here. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to try and end the stream and it's not going to end.
Right.
Okay. Until next time, good night and God bless. And thank you all so very much again for all that you do to support us and encourage us. And now for that jazzy outro song.
Yeah.
Network, and it's all for